Hi, this is Love Hombo. This video I'm going to respond to two of four questions that I got. First, what do references mean when they talk about toe 1 or toe 5, etc. Secondly, I want to talk about the pads on the bottom of the foot and why they show up so differently for different animals. The first thing I want to talk about is how toes are referred to. They're referred to by numbers. Tracking books are not always consistent in how they do it, but I want to show you the standard way in which toes are referred to. Toes of all feet are referred to by number. The equivalent of the big toe is always toe 1. The equivalent of the little toe is always toe 5. So, if you read in a reference that toe 1 rarely shows, you know for sure they're talking about this. And it's the same on the other. You gotta hold your feet still though. It's the same on the other feet. The big toe is toe 1, the little toe is toe 5.
It's much more better.
Okay, yep. So on the front feet, the equivalent of our thumb is toe 1. The equivalent of our little finger is toe 5. So toe 1 will always be the toe that's in the center line of the tracks. It's the inner toes. Question.
Is there anything like a chocolate candy cow?
Only candy chocolate cows. There's no
Yeah, not like real chocolate candy cows.
Right, you got it. So by knowing how toes are numbered, you can avoid confusion when you read reference books, and you can also begin to pay more attention when you look at track diagrams and begin to notice which of the toes, for example, is longest measured from the heel, which is the shortest one measured from the heel. Often those will tell you whether you have a front foot or a back foot, and whether you have a left foot or a right foot. So now the next thing to know is how anatomy affects what part of the foot the animal walks on, and therefore what you can expect to find in a track. So I have an anatomy instructor here to tell us how that works. Go ahead.
Your hip bone is connected to your leg bone is connected to your knee bone, your knee bone is connected to your shin bone bone is connected to your ankle bone, and your ankle bone is connected to your feet bones.
There are three categories of how animals use their feet to walk. The first is called plantigrade, and what does that include?
It includes bears, raccoons, and opossums.
Okay. It also includes most of the rodent family and most of the weasel family, and show how plantigrade walkers use their feet. Heel, sole, ball of foot, and toe. The reason to know which animals walk plantigrade is so that when you think you're tracking a plantigrade animal, you know to look for anatomical heel pads. And if you pay attention to track diagrams and notice where those heel pads are placed, you can often get a very clear indication of whether it's a left foot or a right foot. The second category of how animals use their feet to walk is called digitigrade, which means they're walking on the balls of their feet and their toes like this. So the heel and the sole don't touch. Notice on canines that their leg bone is connected to their knee bone, the knee bone's connected to the shin bone's connected to the ankle bone. So everything from here to the claw is the foot, but you never see this part in a track unless they're sneaking or the snow's very deep. They just walk on this part.
They do? How come?
Because it's too hard to walk on if they put that part down.
Oh, so.
The third category is called unguligrade, and these are generally hoofed animals. They do not walk on their heel, the sole of their foot, or the ball of their foot. They walk on the equivalent of their toenails. They tend to have either one or two hooves.
They walk like a ballet person. They
Exactly.
go on their tippy toes and they walk.
Yep, exactly. Thank you. So now you know how to number toes, 1 through 5. You know that plantigrade walkers will have a heel pad, show the sole, have metacarpal pads, have toe pads, and have claws. So if you're looking at unguligrade, you're only looking for the hoof part, the equivalent of a toenail. If you're dealing with digitigrade, like canids and felines, you know that you'll have toe pads and metacarpal pads, but you are not likely to have a heel pad. Sometimes with digitigrade walkers, dogs and cats for example, people will refer to these two pads as heel pads. That's okay. Just be aware that anatomically they're metacarpal pads or ball of the foot pads, because the real heel pad is back here. So just be aware of that and you won't be confused by their description.